Okay, so we've added our 12 bar blues bass line and we've created the chords, added the chords on the piano. We're now going to add a drum pattern. So in order to add a drum pattern, what we're going to do is add a new track. We're not going to use the drum machine for this pattern. We're going to use the instruments function. But we are going to need to change our instrument sound. So if you go down to instruments down here, and we're going to choose drum kits. And then conveniently there is a blues drum kit here. We're going to use that one. And you can see that got some of the different bits of the drum kit here. However, we are going to use the MIDI editor to input our pattern, so you need to click on MIDI editor. If we double click on our instrument and create an empty region, we can start inputting some notes. So if we just scroll down slightly, you'll see instead of a picture of the piano, which is what we would see if we were adding a different type of instruments, show us the picture of the notes. If we've got a thing that's just showing us the different instruments, the toms, the hi-hat sounds, the kick drums, snare drums, etc. So we're going to input using the pencil tool, just like we did with the piano grid earlier, but this time we're adding drum sounds. We'll start by scrolling right down to the bottom so you can see the kick drum symbol. We're going to add a kick drum on the first beat of the bar. Then we are going to add a snare drum, which is not the snare edge symbol, but it's the next one up, snare, on the second beat of the bar. Then we're going to add a kick drum on the third beat of the bar, so 1.3, and then a snare drum on the fourth beat of the bar, 1.4. So this is the classic, all sorts of rock and pop and hip hop, blues, etc. uses alternating kick drum, snare drum, kick drum, snare drum. It will sound like this. Not very exciting at the moment. What we're going to do now is going to add an extra kick drum beat halfway between 1.2 and 1.3. So just here. So that's going to look like that. But then we're going to use our quantize function to get that using the swing feel. And if you remember what we did with the chords, first of all we went to quantize and we changed the quantize value from 16th notes, which is semiquavers, to 1/8 triplets, which will give us the swing feel. And then we click quantize, and if you just watch what happens to that note as I press quantize, it just shuffles over a little bit to the right hand side, and that's going to give us a bit more kind of swing feel. We're going to have a listen to this in a minute, but we'll add the cymbal part first as well, and then you'll really be able to hear the swing coming through properly. So what we need to do is find the ride cymbal. So if we scroll upwards, one of these cymbals is ride. Let's have a look. Closed hi-hat, open hi-hat, very open hi-hat, crash cymbal, ride cymbal. Okay, so it's this one here, and we're going to add on beat 1, on beat 2, on beat 2.5, on beat 3, on beat 4, and 4.5. Okay. Then what we're going to do is use quantize. So I'm just going to go back to pointer tool. I'm going to quantize a couple of these notes to get them in that swing feel that we want. And the ones that we want to quantize are the ones that are on the halfway between the beats. So the one that's halfway between beat 2 and beat 3. So that one there. We're already on triplet eighth notes, so that's fine. We'll just click quantize and see it shuffled over in the same way as the kick drum note did. And then the very last note of the bar as well. Going to select that one and quantize that to 8th note triplets as well. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and play just the drums. So I'll just move this out of the way for a second. We'll solo the drums, and I'm just going to loop that first bar of the drums Let's open it in MIDI editor again. Just loop that first bar of the drum so you can see what that sounds like. Can't actually see the whole thing all in one go, but anyway. Here we go. So you can hear that the drum pattern's got that sort of bouncing, kind of shuffly swing feel that we want. Okay. What we're going to do now is adjust the length of the region back down to 1 bar. So we've just got 1 bar's worth of drums, and then we're going to use loop. And loop is the top, the symbol at the top of your region, the circular thing at the top of your region. Get your mouse over it so your icon changes to this little double-headed arrow, then click and drag, and it's just going to create a repeated loop of all the same bar, just repeated over and over again. Here we go. So what all those 3 parts together should sound like. Apologies, I've put my track on loop. So this is the loop function. You can turn it on and off by just clicking on it. You can also turn it on and off here. And you can also, once it's on, adjust the length so you can loop different numbers of bars. I'll stick it all the way to the end so it just loops the whole thing. There we go, that's the drums.